People don't understand how strong the bureaucracy of America is. When the people with the dark suits arrive and explain to him how things are really done, his ideas will not come to fruition.
The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police are like, huh?
He talks about bringing the boys to Pleasure Island.
They did this on purpose because they are Satanists. Yeah. Because they hate God, they hate Jesus, they want to corrupt their children.
They would put on robes and they would worship an owl god, and they would burn an effort.
Well, if there's a it's rotating.
Drill music is a demonic force, and all the kids are professing and confessing to be on demon time. In history, have we ever heard black people say, I'm a demon, and don't believe in God?
To someone born before or living before 1945, I think it would have been much more obvious that this is the thing that every society has written about.
In fact, the demons are showing all the signs of being frantic, that their time is coming to an end.
Where you don't really see it coming, next thing you know, like, oh, I have no other option but to get a chip on my head.
Extremely nihilistic, pro-death, pit of hell type.
Now we have the Vatican approving the Canaanite idol. It required child sacrifice and is now outside the Colosseum in Rome. And this shortly after he blessed the Pachamama statue. Pachamama is the fertility goddess in the Inca religion.
I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind.
You were both in Skull and Bone with the secret society. It's so secret we can't talk about it. What does that mean for America?
But somehow good wins in the end. It is the truth. It is light that they fear. The moral arc of the universe bends towards truth.
It bends towards truth and justice in the end.
And I'm trying to make you understand that this is a battle for humanity. This is Satanists against God. This is a battle for your spirituality. This is a battle for your freedom. This is a battle for everything that you've ever held dear. It's a battle for the freedom of the people you love, and that you need to start doing something.
In the end, we do not answer to bureaucrats in Washington. We answer to God in heaven. We must make America pray again.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States.
Why are you gay?
They know he is easy to manipulate with flattery and favors.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
Ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
How?
He plans to create a national anti-abortion coordinator.
Stop the cap.
My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land, in this case, the law of the state.
President Biden and I are working around the clock.
Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap! Move this man!
Back in 2006, GLAAD reported that just over 1% of TV shows featured LGBTQ characters. Fast forward almost 2 decades later, and that number has increased to nearly 11%.
Man, this is some
history now, 20 years later, I think everyone understands what you guys did.
These two get credit because they were the first gay men to be out there being
queer.
Oh, gay is okay.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
Okay, to be able to be a part of that visibility for queer people, I think what I really hope that we can do is make queer people's lives in especially, rural spaces, but also really just anywhere, easier.
How? I'm so sick of this
Bruh, chill.
Oh, he's supporting Trump.
Yeah, because he
doesn't have a choice now.
Yeah, well, I'll explain. So they bought out all of these pages and traffic and started directing it towards Daily Wire. So they bought out the Trump base, but they got it remonetized and reactivated with a back-end deal with Zuckerberg on the grounds that they would fight anti-Semitism and remain critical of Trump, right? So they essentially psyop Trump's base, but they bought out Trump's audience at a fraction of the cost, took advantage of the censorship to attack. And so they bought their audience. They bought it.
Holy shit! Wow.
And that's how they're big, right? So they captured the organic pro-populist audience through investment, through outside investment.
Wow!
And now they're essentially but it was under the guise of making sure that they defended the Jays and also basically were a psyop and undermined Trump.
Some of them. He said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments about scientists studying disinfectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he'd supported, never endorsed him himself.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
Out of here with that.
We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
It's not just Diddy, it's like BlackRock and Vanguard. They actually own the music industry and control the music.
Wait. The investment houses of BlackRock and Vanguard, they own the music industry?
Absolutely. From Sony Music Group, they're the most invested in the music industry. They're the most, through Viacom, they own BET, MTV, VH1. They're in control of the music industry. And they also own the overwhelming majority of stock in the private prison industry.
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prison. It's not about making somebody write the lyric. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't.
Y'all don't see nothing wrong with this. They'll say, oh man, Jesus ain't real. But niggas say demons. No, they'll say, oh, angels ain't real.
But they accept the demons. So.
Come on, fam. They won't accept Pop Smoke, but they'll accept King Von. They won't accept Boston Richie for snitching, but they'll accept a serial killer. They'll accept the R. Kelly.
They don't even declare war. They just say we're going to spend $200 billion on a war with Russia, but we're going to get Ukraine to break the war. We're going to be able to sell all of our weapons to Ukraine because that's the deal. BlackRock owns Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Boeing, Lockheed, all of the military contractors. They're making the money on the war. They have the contract for rebuilding Ukraine. They're going to make another $500 billion on that. And they're the big donor to the Democrat and Republican Party. And this whole thing is fixed and it's rigged. And they don't even have to come to us and say we're going to have another one of these wars. They just print the money. Larry Fink is buddies with the Fed, and it's all a very, very incestuous and corrupt problem.
They did this on purpose because they are Satanists. They want to corrupt your children. LGBT, they cannot have their own children, the gay people. They need your kids. When your kid goes to school and learns these things, you're going to be very angry that not enough people stood up and said that this is unacceptable.
I actually watched it. I think this tape was actually made before I met him. So he went and snuck in to this place where
former presidents go. There's a photograph of it's Ronald Reagan with Herbert Walker Bush and a couple other people all standing around, and it's like these are the people that used to hang out at this place, and they would put on robes and they would worship an owl god, and they would burn an effigy, and they're playing. And Alex snuck in and made video footage of this shit.
Very hypocritical of her to actually pretend like she's expressing concern about young people being that concerned and they're not having kids. She has before, and we've played the clip plenty of times on this show, talked about, when she's talking about the litany of measures that they're taking as a government to fight climate change, she's talked about reducing the population, saying that means we can breathe cleaner air, it's just a better world for everyone. She has literally said that is one of the measures that they are pursuing.
And of course, there's only one topic she loves more than population reduction because of climate change, and that's abortion, which is her favourite thing in the world.
So massive population reduction right there.
This is at odds with Kamala Harris's undying support of trans people, even appearing on RuPaul's Drag Race to drum up support for her campaign.
Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
Every society in all recorded history has thought that until, I'll be specific, August 1945, when we dropped the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and all of a sudden the West is just officially secular. We're God. There is no God but us. And that's the world that we have grown up in, but that's an anomaly. Like, no one else has ever thought that. There's never been a society that thought that. Every other society has assumed, and they've had all kinds of different explanations, and the details differ, but the core idea does not differ, and never has differed from caves until now, that we're being acted on by spiritual forces at all times. And so to someone born before or living before 1945, I think it would have been much more obvious that this is the thing that every society has written about. And in fact, that battle, that unseen battle around us, that spiritual battle, has like been the basis of every society, of every religion, not just Christianity. So like it just, once you discard your very, very recent assumptions, relatively speaking, about how the world works, you're like, well, that kind of seems like the obvious explanation, right?
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society. It's so secret we can't talk about it. What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
Sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee. And, look, I look forward.
Are you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk about.
Skull and Bones members are known to take an oath of secrecy, so their rituals and intricacies are highly guarded, despite the fame of their members. One thing we do know is the physical location of the Skull and Bones clubhouse and headquarters. The nearly windowless building, simply known as The Tomb, is housed in a large brownstone located at 64 High Street in New Haven, Connecticut. Portraits that might feature such esteemed bonesmen, like former presidents George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, and William Howard Taft, as well as the father of American football and the founder of the NCAA, Walter Camp, the man who helped create the Hubble telescope, Lyman Spitzer, Time magazine's founder Henry Luce, Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart, former Secretary of State and Senator John Kerry, the so-called richest man in private equity with a personal net worth currently valued at $15.7 billion, Stephen A. Schwartzman, political journalist and author Dana Milbank, and the youngest member of President Obama's cabinet, economist Austin Goolsbee. However, in return, it is said that the club ensures a policy and a promise of their lifelong financial stability.
Illuminati's that shadowy cabal that controls the entire world and ensures free will's an illusion. Even though they were so high-minded, they had weird rituals. See these owls? The Illuminati really loved them. And they had invented hierarchies like Novice, Minerval, and Illuminated. They were an evil organization bent on ruling the world, sure, but they were also kind of funny. The Illuminati was vague enough to be refit to any purpose, from the New World Order to religious paranoia to pop culture curio like angels and demons. It became a joke. But you might believe that's what the Illuminati wants you to think.
I actually watched it. I think this tape was actually made before I met him. So he went and snuck in to this place where like former presidents go. There's a photograph of it's Ronald Reagan with Herbert Walker Bush and a couple other people all standing around. And it's like these are the people that used to hang out at this place, and they would put on robes and they would worship an owl god, and they would burn an effigy. And they're playing. And Alex snuck in and made video footage of this shit.
A year ago, while speaking at the Global Finance Summit in Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron said the world needs a public financial shock to fight global warming. Around the same time, World Economic Forum founder and executive chairman Klaus Schwab also made a similar statement about revamping the global economy. In his words, "Every country from the United States to China must participate, and every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. We need a great reset of capitalism," Schwab added in an article published on the non-governmental organization's website. According to popular investigative journalist Whitney Webb, what we are witnessing is the birth of a new international monetary system, a replacement for the current Bretton Woods system built solely on the blockchain to aid the complete surveillance and censorship of every aspect of our lives. Whitney's warnings are based on the words of several global elites and WEF puppets like Macron, as well as the words of Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada, and the UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance, who said the three pillars of the New World Order are digital IDs, CBDCs, and ESG. In a recent discussion with Mark Goodwin, writer and editor-in-chief at Bitcoin Magazine, Whitney warns that all world governments are pushing this New World Order agenda, proudly sponsored by the ultra-rich and powerful, including Silicon Valley executives like Larry Fink, who wants to tokenize all existing assets and commodities, as well as the natural world. Whitney warns that from forests to rivers, mountains, and lakes, everything will soon become a commodity, owned and traded by the super rich and powerful to make them even stronger and move them closer to their goal of completely dominating the rest of us. Whitney discusses two important parts of the New World Order plans: digital IDs and natural world tokenization, warning that Schwab, Fink, and useful puppets like Macron are on the verge of achieving their grand plans, and how disastrous that would be for us all.
Putin said this in an interview. They said, "What do you think of Trump?" He said, "I've been through 3 US presidents, and they all have amazing ideas. The ideas don't get implemented because people don't understand how strong the bureaucracy of America is. When the people with the dark suits arrive and explain to him how things are really done, his ideas will not come to fruition." Putin said himself, the president has people above him telling him what to do.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Even in the Disney film, in Pinocchio, it's unbelievable, the pub scene. And you'll remember this when you saw it as a kid. It gave you a creepy feeling in your belly.
Let's see it.
Okay. He talks about bringing the boys to Pleasure Island.
How would you blokes like to make some real money? I'm collecting stupid little boys. Stupid little boys. And I takes them to Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island? But the law. Suppose they... No, they never come back as boys.
About that case, I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a department.
Gay!
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle and that gender is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls, there are people whose gender might be a little bit of both, or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like The Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing up, some girls like catching snakes.
The SOGI curriculum started in British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay?
All those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys boys are being, taken from them. So things of equating young men to being strong protectors is something that's now evil.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our human rights code says.
I don't like where this is going.
We tired of playing with your ass, nigga. Today your ass is gonna die, bitch. Say goodnight, motherfucker.
And it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees SOGI's real goal as
altering our culture from a heteronormative society into one where anything goes, no boundaries, no values, no morals. It's a hedonistic cult, basically, what they're implying.
Another blaring example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America, where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dressed like horned demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this, and parents are waking up and saying no.
When asked about parents' rights, Auger says,
Well, actually, in Canada, parents' rights are limited, and children's rights are put ahead.
Stop it. Get some help.
Ah, shit. Here you go again.
If people with uteruses don't have access to abortion, we're not having a sexual liberation. And we're all fucking. And we're past the binary.
I'm a queer person. I've had 2 abortions. And that's part of the genesis of this. When I had my first abortion, I was like, this is not like what they said it was going to be. Joy. And the joy is about autonomy. And autonomy is where we meet as a queer community. Like, that's what it's about. Like, I have a right to do what I want with this body.
That's right there. This is a basic human right. We're past the binary.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
People have run up to me and hugged me and been like, thank you. There's a release, I think, that happens with the project, to see it out in the open, to see it joyfully claimed, and to have God in it. It's beautiful to also listen to other people's testimony of what happens to them. It provokes people into something, and that is good. This is a march in commemoration of independence from a police state. I celebrate your right to have 20 abortions. I'll throw you a party. Or 0! It's a celebration.
Right? Killing off your own offspring, it means that you're not putting your offspring into
these
society.
people with the sign.
Yeah.
I killed 10 of my kids. Isn't that, I mean, it's evil. It's satanic. It shouldn't happen. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm just asking, is there a Darwinistic element to all of this?
If you look at all of their ideas, they lead to death, right? You can't procreate. You're killing off your own offspring. Every single one of their ideas leads to death and destruction. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So in the end, you'd have to have the perspective that conservatives win naturally, because we're talking about
if we own the culture.
Yeah.
But we don't. So what they're doing is they're using the culture to psyop enough young children who are not living a traditionalistic life, or like you're saying, or not having a strong family, nuclear family, to keep them against the slave programming. And they're using them to create the new generation of death cultists to continue to keep humanity under attack. But when I first watched COVID, when I watched the Italian hospitals and people falling over in China, at the very, very beginning of it, I sat there and thought, what do they want me to believe? They want me to be scared of this disease. They want me to be afraid. No, I'm not going to be afraid. So if I'm not afraid, what's the answer? Well, the answer is to go to which country? Sweden's open. Nobody talks about the fact that Sweden was open the whole time, never closed ever. But you have to use your mind to break the trap. And I feel like I've tried to allow my mind to be psyoped into this transgender stuff or this abortion stuff. And even I can't even pretend to buy into it. I can't see how you can reach that level of delusion. And that's where I say, maybe it must be Darwinism, because maybe even with all of my mental capacity, I can't even pretend to be stupid enough to want to go and chop my genitalia off to then imitate a woman, poorly imitate a woman for the rest of my human years. That literally sounds like a form of torture. I've got another question for you. How polarized do you think the world is? Do you think there's 2 teams? Do you think the globalists control everything? Do you think there's 3 or 4 teams? What do you think about that?
I think it's probably now divided into 2 teams. Yeah. Because now you have to find more in common. It's like, how crazy are you? We may have been divided into 4, 5, 6, but now it's like, do you believe that children should chop their off? Right. Or yes or no. Circle yes or no.
Yeah.
Right. That's where we're at, because you have to be so far deluded to believe this. And if you're just in some realm of sanity, we probably have enough in common that we should fight together. Right. Just because like they're going after the kids now. It's like, and I think that is really where we got divided into 2 categories, where it's like you're either pro going after the children or you're against going after the children. And it's remarkable how many people are pro letting them go after the children. It's kind of scary, but that's where we're at. I think it's now pretty much 2 camps. It used to be more.
You're absolutely not really nailed it. And this is where we're in such a difficult, it's a race to the bottom between the 2 genders, right?
Yeah.
As the women act worse, the men act worse by extension.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be moral in an immoral world, you're going to end up wrecked.
Right.
So it's getting harder and harder. So we have to kind of like fix one of the genders first.
Women aren't desirable right now, as in the Western Hemisphere as a whole. And of course,
finding a wife is hard.
Finding a wife is hard. And it's because women are literally being conditioned to behave like sluts.
Completely. And they're also being conditioned to leave the man as soon as things get difficult. There's a lot of programming in this I don't think even many people pick up on. But
Yeah, you did warn me about Hollywood. Yes, you did, Mom. Yeah, you did. I will. Thank you. She said she'll be praying for all of us.
Drill music is a demonic force, and all the kids are professing and confessing to be on demon time. In history, have we ever heard black people say, I'm a demon, and don't believe in God? Y'all don't see nothing wrong with this. They'll say, oh man, Jesus ain't real, but niggas say demon. No, they don't even, they'll say, oh, angels ain't real.
But they accept the demons. So.
Come on, fam. They won't accept Pop Smoke, but they'll accept King Von. They won't accept Boston Richie for snitching, but they'll accept a serial killer. They'll accept the R. Kelly.
Saul was troubled by demons. David played the harp. Music has the power to summon demons or to send them away. What do you think our music today is doing?
When you in this business, right, and you got talent, they want you because you got influence. The devil's job is to get as many souls as possible. So if you got the potential to be influential, they want you, not because you're talent, because they could use you as a tool to push their agenda. Now, in order for them to fully put you in position, they have to make sure that you're willing to get in position. And that position is taking dick in ass, bro. So
why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Lil Nas X's collaboration with art collective Mischief, the 666 pair of sneakers feature gold pentagrams, inverted crosses, as well as human blood inside the sole.
People that have been in denial about the left of like, this is not Satanism, and these are not practices of Satanism. This is not when they say the devil is a liar and the devil works to alter our perceptions of what is lie, what is the truth.
Has been living isolated for 12 years without any rights. What was the crime? Publishing truthful information. The US committed war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan, so the journalist that published those war crimes is in jail. and the people that committed those crimes are not even under investigation. So that's absolutely crazy.
9 years later, prosecutors dropped the case against Assange for lack of evidence, though somehow that fact was not as widely covered.
As soon as they want to get rid of you, they will try and accuse you of the most heinous crimes, because sexual crimes are heinous. It slanders your name, which makes the process itself a punishment. It doesn't matter if you're found innocent at the end of it, because they've slandered you for years anyway. The process is a punishment, which is why they choose sexual crimes. They're also extremely subjective, hard to prove. They don't need any solid evidence.
Remember, I ain't have a penny. Off the drug, not healthy and skinny. Yeah, 250 get your weight up. Like jumping, now I gotta stay up. Blue bean, bitch, I'm getting paper. Outside in the cold like a glacier. Back and forth on the road, risk taker. Blowing purple and gold like the Lakers. The smoke in my lung, no chaser. AR with a scope and a laser. Yeah, you can run, but you can't hide. Get hit in your dome, you wit. I fuck it up, gotta stay on my toe. Too far in the game to quit. Yeah, 7-4, I put that on my bro. The streets, they know I'm legit. Got a blue flag, I put over my nose. My cuz, she think I'm a crib. I gotta win, I can't lose none. Grab a strap before I put my shoes on. In a joint when I had them blues on. Pole nigga better not move wrong.